Nyanchama Otachi from the informal settlement of Islands in Nairobi, Kenya, beams with pride of achievement and satisfaction.
I've never imagined. I really struggled. I used to see people's houses and try to think how people get houses they call theirs. But I thank God that I found this Women Enterprise Fund, and it has really supported me, and now I own a house.
Nyanchama owes the change in her life to the government of Kenya's resolute commitment to the implementation of the 1995 Beijing Platform for Action. It is the result of deliberate and focused government policy and programming and the champions who motivated other women in the struggle for gender equality.
The government is not just committed to implementing the provisions of the Constitution because they are written in the Constitution, but actually believes that empowering women is actually critical for the development of this country. And the government has therefore moved beyond just placing women in boardrooms to also empowering those women who are in the informal sector, women who are actually working out in business, to ensure that they are empowered in terms of providing opportunities, actual opportunities within government to enable them to build their businesses. And all these programs are anchored on capacity building framework that seeks to interlink both those policies that we have put in place and linking with the Kenyan woman out there to be able to provide them with the capacity that they require to take advantage of these opportunities that government has created.
For the Kenyan woman, the Kenyan environment was a radically different society back in 1995. Senator Zipporah Kitoni was amongst the women leaders spearheading the fight for women's rights from Mexico in 1975.
One of the issues were discrimination against women, the problems that women were facing. We had the second conference in Copenhagen in Denmark, and the third conference, which I was also a member of the steering committee, was held here in Nairobi in 1985.
When we got to Beijing, we had set our minds on what we wanted to achieve. For us in Africa, we wanted to see speedy development in infrastructure, the social services like health and education for our children, and equality of men and women.
20 years later, and the lifestyle of the Kenyan woman has undergone remarkable transformation. Achieving the human rights and gender equality provisions enshrined in the 2010 Kenya Constitution presented numerous gains now manifest across Kenyan society. The constitutional provision for one-third compulsory representation of either gender in appointive and elective positions has ensured equitable representation in decision-making state organs. Currently, 33% of Kenya cabinet is composed of women managing strategic policy formulating ministries. The judicial arm of government enjoys similar status. The constitutional provision enshrining one-third representation of women in legislative bodies has ensured that the Kenyan women's voice is heard at critical decision-making platforms and has contributed to the enactment of progressive legislation for the women of Kenya. In the past few years, the government of Kenya has made progressive measures towards gender equality, which have witnessed development of progressive gender-responsive laws, which include Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation Act, Public Benefits Organization Act, the Social Assistance Act, the Breast Milk Substitutes Regulation and Control Act, the Ratification of Treaties Act, the Counter-Trafficking in Persons Act, Matrimonial Property Act, Marriage Act, among other laws. The Sexual Offences Act of 2006 has resulted with the establishment of programs managed by government and civil society organizations that have been pivotal in ensuring the safety and rights of women. Safe houses, gender-based recovery centres and hospitals have been established. The The National Reproductive Health Policy of 2007 gives special attention to marginalized women and has been instrumental in promoting the realization of the Millennium Development Goals on health. Introduction of free maternity services has been fundamental, and as a result, the country has recorded a 50% nationwide increase in hospital deliveries, from 444,000 in 2012 to 666,000 in 2014. The country's highest leadership has demonstrated support to programs promoting women's health. First Lady Margaret Kenyatta has led a social mobilization campaign through national and international marathon runs, raising funds for mobile clinics that serve women in the far-to-reach communities. The support to the initiative has been phenomenal. Partnerships have been cemented with international development organizations, private sector, with thousands of Kenyan men coming out to support the initiative. The Kenyan girl child was inherently disempowered owing to lack of equal access to educational opportunities. The policy of Universal Primary Education School of 2003 saw thousands of girls who could previously not access education access primary school education. Various legislation to ensure improvement, retention and performance are in place. Free day secondary education policy ensured thousands more transition to higher education. Establishment of boarding schools and the passage of Anti-Female Genital Mutilation Act in 2011 assured girls of protection from disempowering cultural practices, including circumcision and early marriages. The previous disparity in enrollment of boys to girls has been breached and gender parity realized at primary school level, while gross enrollment in secondary schools has been rising steadily. To boost food production and household nutrition, special agricultural programs targeting the marginalized have been established. The programs extend grants and credits that women would normally find inaccessible due to lack of collateral. These funds have enabled women increase farm productivity, engage in agribusiness, and set up cottage industries in the rural areas. Institutional mechanisms to safeguard gains made and ensure the continued advancement of women are in place. The establishment of socio-economic empowerment programs that aim at uplifting the marginalized, particularly women, youth and persons with disabilities, are spearheaded by the ministry. The government is disbursing essential capital finance business opportunities through a Women Enterprise Fund, Youth Enterprise Fund, as well as an Ability Fund.
One again, which is very unique in this year, is a 6 billion fund, which goes again to women and to youth to provide small loans, and this is for small entrepreneurs, to provide them with startup capital on zero interest. This means that for the 600 billion shillings the Kenyan government spends in procurement, 30% of that is put aside to be given to, with regard to contracts to women and youth. They are interlinked, so you will find that those people who actually end up getting the loans from the Uwezo Fund, for example, are also the same people given priority in terms of government contracts. And so it's linked to ensure that we are providing an end-to-end process of empowering women.
The Women Enterprise Fund has disbursed over 4.5 billion shillings and enabled over 860,000 women start businesses by organizing them into business groups and cooperatives.
From what we were given as a group, we were able to start a business and employ some 2 people there. At least they're earning a living and we make some small profit from there. Then it's making a very big difference. We are making profit. We are paying the employees, 2 girls who are working there. So we are making some profit out of that. So if we can be given some more money as a circle now, we believe we'll be able to do greater things than what we've been able to do.
The government instituted an affirmative action policy for youth, women, and persons with disabilities in public procurement. Under this policy, the government has set aside at least 30% to this category, translating to a minimum of $2.2 billion per year worth of business to target groups.
One of the things that has been very humbling is to see the enthusiasm with which women especially have latched onto this opportunity. So far we have women and youth companies that have been registered, about 18,000 of them. And out of those, about 4,300 have already gotten business. These are people who were out there, probably did not have opportunities or had opportunities, but to a smaller scale. That's an impact. We account at the cabinet level of how much money we have given to women and youth. And as a government, we are not just paying lip service to this preferential treatment, but we are walking the talk.
The Kenyan policies and programs have borne much fruit in integrating the Kenyan woman into the socio-economic life of the country.
Pesa za wevu walitupea, tulinunua materials za vitambaa tukashona. Sasa vile tulishona vitambaa na ruskawa tukauza. Tukiuza tulikuwa tuna ile pesa tulikuwa tunatoa ya kununua material na faida tulikuwa tunakopeshana. Sasa ikainua ile gubato yetu. Tena vile tumeinua gubato tukaona pesa ni nyingi, tukasema tutaongezea pia merry-go-round. Sasa vile hiyo gubato imeinuka ndio tukaanza kupeana maroni. Hapo ndio tulifurahia, sababu pesa ya wefu kwa vile inakuja inaingia ndio tunaweza kukupea runi ya 10,000, 20,000, sababu tukitoka kuuza tunaona hatutabadilisha pesa zote kwa vitambaa. Wefu ndio hapo imetuinulia juu, maana hizo hatukuwa tunaweza kupeana gubato kubwa.
Kupitia kwa Women Enterprise Fund tukapata 50,000 za kwanza ambazo iliweza kutuboost kama kikundi, na tukasema kwa sababu hii pesa ni ya kwanza na tumekuwa tukifanya kazi kwa pamoja, wacheni tuendelee kufanya biashara kwa pamoja. So tukaiweka kwa activity ya kikundi kwa pamoja. Katika hiyo hali tuliweza tukaongeza biashara yetu, tukaanza kutengeneza candle stands, tukaanza kutengeneza frames za picha. Baadhi yetu, katikati yetu, karibu kila mtu, tumeweza kuona ya kwamba maisha yetu yamebadilika. Tumeweza kuwa na pesa zenye hatukuwa nazo. Tumeweza kufundisha watoto wetu up to university levels, ambayo kwetu ilikuwa kama ndoto. Tulikuwa tunafikiria matajiri ndio wanaweza somesha mpaka huko. And by the end of this year, we shall be owning our own bus.
I appreciate what this government especially has done for women and young people, that they've put them in the center stage, that the women are able now to access funding, to engage in enterprises that they never did before. But I think there's been a revolution truly. If you look at the lives of our girls in schools now, in the universities, in the colleges, in the workplace, there's been tremendous change.
Sustenance and scale-up of the programs that promote women's equality and empowerment in the country is assured. The highest authority in the land has given its solid commitment and demonstrated it.
Equality is not just something we talk about, but it is something we practice in every single living moment of our lives. We are equal, and even before the eyes of God, we are equal. Our Constitution guarantees it. Irregardless of our gender, irregardless of our religious diversity, irregardless of our ethnic diversity, we are all equal. And I assure you, on my part, as a government, we will do everything that we can